In this video, I'm going to talk about 4 uncomfortable truths about retirement. Some of them you may have heard the concepts, but I may talk about it in a little bit different way than the way you may have thought about it. So some may be a precautionary tale, some may be things you've never thought about, and some may be encouraging to you. So we're going to cover it all today. So let's get into it right now.
Shut up and sit down.
The first uncomfortable truth is that you are the boss. Whether you worked for a company and you had a boss for your whole career, or whether you were self employed and you were the boss, now in retirement, you are the boss. There's nobody giving you a paycheck anymore. There's nobody dictating what your day is going to look like anymore. So you've got to be able to, A, figure out how to plan out your day. You know, if you go from working 8 or 9 hours a day, plus a 1 or 2 hour commute, on the front or the back of this thing, there's a lot of your day that you haven't figured out how to fill every single day. And I don't think enough people put enough thought into what they're going to actually do in their retirement. You hear a lot of people, if you watch very many of these videos, you've probably heard the term retire to something, not from something. So you've really got to put thought before you get to retirement into how you're going to fill your days. And, in your mind, I'm sure you've pictured retirement as this perfect, idyllic life. And you're the boss of making that happen. You've got to be able to plan out your days, and your retirement is supposed to be fun. So you've got to be sure that you're planning to get to retirement, that you will be able to fill the days with fun activities, and you don't just wind up watching Netflix and chilling all the time. And a precautionary tale I'll throw in here also is that for those of you who were the boss, whether it was for your own company or you had 300 people below you and you were used to bossing people around, I've heard a lot of people who've transitioned from that sort of a role in work having a little bit of problems at home, bossing people around, bossing spouses around, bossing kids around, and just sort of missing that authority figure role. So you can still be the boss, but you're the boss of yourself. You're the boss of your days. You're the boss of your finances. You've got to keep all these different things in order. So you can, spend a little bit of time planning all these things out before you get to retirement so that you're mentally ready for these things. So that first uncomfortable truth is that you're the boss. And also you have to, part of that being your own boss of yourself is partly figuring out maybe you're not as important as you thought you were when you left the job. Somebody else came in, filled it. They're doing your job now. They're running your company. You sold the company maybe to somebody else. And we're just not as important maybe as we thought we were. But what is important is internalizing being our own boss and getting your finances in order and planning your days. The second uncomfortable truth is that most people at some point, especially early into retirement, are going to feel a little on the lonely side. Now, this probably is for 98% of people. There's that 2%. We all know that lady who is in a pickleball group and she plays golf 3 times a week and she volunteers for a local politician. She fosters 3 dogs and she teaches English to migrants coming into your town, and she's in a traveling belly dancing group. But for the rest of you, you left the 9-to-5 job. Most people, you might keep in touch with work friends for a little while into your retirement, but you sort of drift away from those people. So you don't have the interaction of the people at work, the friends at work. Maybe your kids moved out of state, or, you retired and you downsized and you moved to a smaller house. Maybe you moved to a new community and you don't have your neighbors that you're hanging out with anymore. There's a lot of ways that you get more distance from people after retirement. And making friends as an adult, if you haven't tried lately, it's an art form. It's a lot more difficult than you think to go out into the world and meet another adult human person and become friends with them.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yep.
As someone who moved a lot in my own personal life, I lived in Iowa till I was 8, then Texas for 8 years, then Georgia for 8 years. Then I moved out west. I lived in Oregon. Then I moved to Montana. Then I moved to California. Then I moved back to Montana. Then I moved to South Carolina. Then I moved to Florida. Then I moved to the Virgin Islands. Then I moved back to Florida. Those are all the places that I've lived. And the lesson that I learned from that is that the onus, the responsibility to keeping connections and friendships alive really is on the person who left. Because I feel like the people you hung out with when you were friends and you were neighbors, their lives are going on as they are, and they don't probably think about you quite as much as you think about them. So I feel like when you leave your job, if you want to be friends with your friends at work, they're still working all day, and the responsibility is really on you to keep those relationships open. So if you want to keep old friendships alive, you have to put in a little bit extra effort. And if you want to try to find new friendships, things like meetups and Facebook groups. My wife just joined a walking group that goes walking, running on Saturdays, and she's made one friend through there. So finding these groups to hang out with is the best way, I think, to sort of narrow down the space between us, to get people together, to make it easier to try to make new friends. Another thing here is a lot of time spouses retire at different times. So one spouse might be going to work. My wife is working from home now, so she's doing a little bit of teaching online. But when we were living in the Virgin Islands and she went to work every day and I was at home every day, it was even tougher on me because then I didn't have her to do fun things with. So, if both spouses are retiring at the same time and you're best friends, like my wife and I are, and we love hanging out together, you still have to have your own thing. Like I have my fishing buddies and I go fishing a lot, and she has her walking group and she does some other things. So you've got to have your own things, and you've got to really be okay spending time apart from each other. Spending time together is great, but you've got to maintain some of your own identity and the things you like to do as well. So this uncomfortable truth is that you could feel some isolation and some loneliness, but with a little bit of effort, you can keep old connections alive. And there's new opportunities to make new friends, new activities. Maybe you never played pickleball before. You start going playing pickleball and you make some new friends, and you're active and you get healthy, and everything's better. Uncomfortable truth number 3 is that stuff breaks. Stuff breaks. If you're at retirement age, chances are you've probably been in your house for a while. If you're not going to downsize and move to a smaller house, if you're going to stay in the house you've had, chances are stuff's getting old in there. Maybe you're going to need a new roof. Boom, 20 grand. They don't make appliances like they used to. So you're going to probably need a new fridge at some point. New appliances, they say, last between 6 and 7 years. New fridge, boom, 2 grand. New stove, boom, $1 grand. So if these aren't things that you've calculated into your retirement budget, you need to start thinking about, maybe you just have an emergency fund or something, but you need to really calculate in how old is my roof? How old is my hot water heater? And thinking about those things so that before you get to retirement, you've already got those things like budgeted into your mind, if not into actually on a written budget on a piece of paper. Houses aren't the only thing that breaks. Cars break. How old is your car? Actually, most of the old and oldies that are retired that I know drive pretty new cars, but that means you're probably trading in or buying a new car every 2, 3, 4 years. So do you have buying new cars built into your retirement budget? When we look at our expenses, maybe we calculate what our car insurance and our gas is, but I don't know if we calculate the extra $5 or $6 or $10 or $15,000 we want to put down to upgrade our vehicle every however many years you may want to do that. And if we don't want to drive a 20-year-old car in retirement, what do we expect of these 50, 60, 70-year-old bodies that we're living in? They can break as well. So we've got to maintain these things as well. If you're playing pickleball, like the number of knee injuries and heart attacks has gone through the roof since pickleball's gotten popular. You know what else breaks? Marriages. I was looking at some statistics about how the silver community divorce rates are going through the roof. So, sometimes when two spouses retire and they are at home all day and the kids are gone, they just want to kill each other. And they realize that maybe they're not as compatible as they were when they had kids running around the house and one of them went to work, the other one went to work, and they'd come home in the evenings and they would cook dinner and take care of the homework. And then now all of a sudden it's just the two of you. So hopefully you've got a good relationship and your relationships won't break. But those are things you have to think about. Like if your relationship is strained going into retirement can be hard on couples. So that's something to really work on before you get to there. So that uncomfortable truth is that stuff breaks, hearts break, eyesight fails, hearing goes away, sex drives decrease, all kinds of things happen as we get older. And a lot of these things are just inevitable to happen. And what really sucks is when they're a surprise. So when we plan for these things, the detriment to our lives is decreased by being able to plan for a new roof or plan for any of these other things that can break and diminish in our lives. Uncomfortable truth number 4 is that past performance is not indicative of future performance. Have you heard that before? At our advanced ages, I don't know what it is, but I find myself watching a lot of financial news. I don't even have very much money in the stock market. All my money's tied up in real estate. But I still watch the finance channel a lot, as maybe you do as well. And there's a lot of finance products advertised on these channels. So I hear this commercial all the time, and they always start with or end with past performance not indicative of future performance. They need like a MTV style finance news show for us Gen Xers that are approaching retirement age. The first group of Gen Xers is turning 60 next year. Can you believe that? So I think that this past performance little thing I came up with here is, it's not just about one stock, but I think it's about your whole portfolio, whether it's real estate, whether it's stock portfolio, whether it's ETFs, whether you're in bonds, whatever it is, but maybe not bonds. But whatever happened in the past doesn't necessarily mean that's going to happen in the future. There's no such thing as a bulletproof portfolio. And they say in a 30-year retirement, you're going to see like 5 bear markets, something like that. I don't know if that's an exact statistic or not, but you're going to see downturns in the market. You're going to freak out. You're going to see money go down. I thought the real estate was safer until we had a pandemic, and all of a sudden people didn't have to pay rent anymore. And some of my tenants work in restaurants and property management companies, and I was worried they weren't going to be able to pay rent anymore. So nothing is safe out there. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, there's going to be dips, there's going to be highs, there's going to be lows. And you've got to be able to ride all these things out and know that they're coming. It's just part of the game. These ups and downs are actually what I just think scares most people the most about retirement. And that's why people get stuck working one more year, because they're worried, well, if the stock market goes down and I have an extra $50,000 in there, I have an extra $50,000 in my emergency fund or my cash fund so I could live off of 2 years so I don't have to touch my stocks. And that fear is really what just keeps people working, I think, too long in many instances. And understanding that you can't really be afraid of that it's just part of the game, and being able to trust your numbers is really the key to hitting the right retirement age and not working too long. So we can't let the fear of what our portfolios possibly maybe could do and things we can't control prevent us from pulling the plug and on work and actually retiring. But I want to roll this back in also because it's also sort of true of our bodies. We can't expect the same performance out of our bodies as we have in the past. It reminds me of that song, I'm not as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was. That becomes truer and truer the older that we get. And it's just inevitable that our bodies will start to fall apart. I had one of my little grandmas, and she was 92 years old, working in the garden and doing stuff on the farm. And I had one of my grandpies die in his 80s. My wife's got one of her grandmas is still alive and kicking at 101. So we don't know how long it's going to last. But one thing is for certain, that this is not a practice run. This is the real deal. If you're 60 years old, you've lived like 3,182 weeks, something like that. And if you're 60 years old, according to the statistics, you've only got about 1,000 weeks left. So, we've got to really enjoy the time that we've got left when we work into our 60s. If you're not retiring in your 40s or your 50s and you're working into your late 50s or your 60s or even later, and then the time that you can actually enjoy and travel and do things is even shorter than the time you're going to live. Even if you live to 100, after 80 or so, your mobility is going to be highly reduced. So we've got to really enjoy what we've got. So the uncomfortable truth that past performance is not indicative of future performance is also that we're basically already over the hump and we're on the downward trajectory here of our life expectancy. And so this downward part can be the most fun part. It can be the best part, but we have to decide to make it so. We have to plan for it financially and emotionally, which is why I don't know if you notice, I don't talk that much about specific numbers on this channel. I talk more about the mindset of retirement and, preparing for it. I talk about how to prepare for it financially, but I don't talk about individual numbers because who cares how much I spend and how much I save? The key is how much you need to spend and save and how you need to prepare your mind. So I hope some of these things that I talk about on this channel are helpful to you and your mindset about getting to this place of retirement or early retirement. And if it is, I hope you'll hit the like button down there and you'll subscribe to the channel and you'll consider sticking around. And if you like this video, go watch this video next about some mistakes you can avoid in retirement.